All right. Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive.
Always ready to dive deep.
Awesome. So today we're tackling a concept that, well, it might seem a little out there at first.
Out there how? Give us a hint.
All right. So we're going to be looking at the idea that evil, like true evil, doesn't actually exist.
Whoa, okay, that's definitely a head-scratcher. I'm intrigued. Where are we getting this idea from?
We're pulling this from Abdu'l-Bahá's writings, specifically an excerpt from some answered questions.
So we're in for some deep philosophical waters today.
Oh, absolutely. Get ready to have some assumptions challenged. Maybe even some aha moments. Who knows?
All right, I'm ready. Let's dive in.
Perfect. So Abdu'l-Bahá starts by talking about two main types of beings.
Okay, I'm listening. Two types. Lay 'em on me.
He calls them material beings and spiritual beings, or as he puts it sometimes, intellectual beings.
Material beings? I think I get that. That's like the stuff we see and touch, right?
Exactly. It's anything we can experience with our senses. Like this microphone, the sound of our voices, even the coffee I'm sure you're enjoying right now.
Yes. Can't forget the coffee. But spiritual or intellectual beings, those are a little harder to grasp. What exactly are those?
It took me a minute to wrap my head around it, too. But think about it like this. Your mind, right? Your thoughts, your emotions, all those things, they aren't physical things you can hold or see.
Right. They're more like, well, concepts, right?
Exactly. But they're still a very real part of you. Abdu'l-Bahá would call those intellectual beings. And what's even more interesting, he says these intellectual realities, like human qualities, things like kindness, love, those are inherently good.
So, like, those qualities are kind of the baseline for goodness in this framework.
You got it. Okay, but here's the big question.
Yeah.
If these inherent qualities are good, then where does that leave evil?
Right, because that's kind of the whole point of this deep dive, isn't it? Figuring out where evil fits into all of this.
Exactly. And this is where things get super interesting. Abdu'l-Bahá suggests that evil isn't actually a thing itself.
Wait, hold on. So evil isn't this, like, powerful force out there causing all the bad stuff?
Nope, not according to Abdu'l-Bahá. He says it's more like the absence of good.
Okay, I think I need an example. My brain's not quite wrapping around this one.
He uses the analogy of darkness and light, and I think it really helps. Think about it. Darkness isn't a thing on its own right. It's just what happens when there's no light present.
Okay. I see where you're going with this. So, applying that to evil, are you saying that what we see as, like, evil actions or events, those are actually just the absence of good qualities, like compassion and understanding and all that?
Exactly. And just like if you flick on a light switch, darkness vanishes. Abdu'l-Bahá suggests we can diminish evil by, well, increasing the amount of goodness out there.
Increasing goodness. I like the sound of that. But I gotta be honest, this is a pretty big shift in how I usually think about things.
Oh, I hear you. It definitely takes some getting used to. I mean, there's a part of me that still wants to say, but what about people who go out of their way to hurt others? What about all the violence and cruelty in the world? Surely those things are just straight up evil, no matter how you look at it.
Right. That's the question that immediately popped into my head, too. How does Abdu'l-Bahá address that?
Well, he actually talks about this, and he uses a pretty interesting example. A scorpion.
A scorpion. Okay, this should be good. I'm all ears.
So he points out that a scorpion's poison, which, let's be real, is pretty nasty stuff to us, is actually just its way of protecting itself.
So it's not like the scorpion is out there thinking, ooh, I'm going to sting this person because I'm evil. It's just doing what it needs to do to survive.
Exactly. What's good for the scorpion, unfortunately, can be bad for us. It's all about perspective.
So it all comes back to this idea of relativity. Something we might see as evil could have a totally different meaning or purpose in another context.
That scorpion example really got me thinking. Like, how often do we label things, or even people, as just plain evil without really understanding the full picture?
Yeah, it's easy to fall into that trap of black and white thinking. But the world and people are way more complex than that.
Definitely. And I think Abdu'l-Bahá's perspective is all about pushing us to move past those simplistic labels and really dig deeper. It makes you wonder.
What does it make you wonder?
Well, if evil is really just the absence of good, how does that change how we approach, like, justice and accountability?
Ooh, that's a good one. Does it change how we view punishment versus, like, rehabilitation?
Right. And if we're not fighting against this big bad force of evil, but rather focusing on cultivating goodness, does that change how we go about solving problems?
And on a personal level, what if we started seeing our own flaws, not as some sign of evil, but as opportunities to learn and grow?
Man, that's powerful.
Yeah.
This whole idea of evil as non-existence really makes you rethink everything, doesn't it? It makes you rethink the world, our actions, and even our own potential.
And remember, everyone, this is really just scratching the surface. We've only dipped our toes into this concept. There's so much more to explore.
So as you go about your day, think about how this new perspective might change how you see things, maybe even inspire you to bring a little more light into the world.
Absolutely. And who knows, maybe we'll revisit this topic in a future deep dive and explore it even further.
Sounds good to me. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. We'll see you next time.
See you then.